Hi, Snow.
Hi, MJ.
We got a packed house here today.
We do.
Yeah, it's our 200th episode.
Woo!
Right?
Can you believe that?
Yay!
200
I
of
cannot.
this bullshit?
I know. I can't believe we're at 200 already.
And people still listen.
A few.
Yeah, a dozen. So,
We have friends today.
Yeah. You know, I'm like the only one here without an S name.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that never struck anybody here.
It's like I had to just think of that too. There are a lot of S's here.
All right, to my left, we have Stella, first time on the podcast.
Hello.
Yay!
Yay!
One of the youngest guests to ever be in the studio.
Double yay. We
That's crazy.
We have Shelly.
Yay!
Back again.
Yay!
Back again!
Yes, very positive reviews on the last podcast she was on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And we have Shawna.
Yay!
Shawna's a regular at this point.
She's an OG.
Right?
All right, so start off, we just go with Valentine's Day. Anybody do anything for Valentine's Day?
No.
No.
No?
I usually don't, because it's like, you know, I don't know, maybe I say bad things about Valentine's Day, but I'm like, isn't it just to make us buy more stuff?
It really is.
That's kind of how I feel about Valentine's Day.
Mm-hmm. Like the pressure of it. Oh, I gotta do this.
Yeah.
I gotta do that. And you don't have to do anything.
It's like, can't you love somebody like any of the days? Why is it just important on this one day?
I know, like, if you go buy some flowers, is it more special if you just do it randomly?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
Like-
what I
Yes.
think.
I feel
Yeah,
like
that's my...
I will use any excuse to celebrate,
well,
Okay.
that's a good one.
Yeah.
but I don't know, because I don't expect things
Uh-huh.
on Valentine's Day. It's just more of like it's an excuse to celebrate. It's an excuse for me to do things for other people kind of thing.
Right,
More than
I
it
know.
is like, I want somebody to do something for me.
Well, you're a nicer person than the rest of us, then, you know?
Well,
This one's a sweetie.
She does have youth on her side.
Right.
She hasn't got, she hasn't got
20
jaded
years.
like us.
She hasn't been scorned yet.
Forget it.
marriages.
I mean, we've already decided that we're going to name this podcast "We're All Going to Die Alone." I mean, because I think everybody at this table is single, right?
Yep.
For the most part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
technically.
Yep.
Like talking to somebody, but single.
There's always talks. People in talking to somebody.
People sure like to talk.
Yeah.
Don't they?
That's what it is. Talking.
Well,
Not dating. Just talking.
Well, Shelly, though, that's your social media, though. What you post on social media, you're going to attract people in your DMs.
Oh, yeah. It's surprisingly not as much as you would think, but because all of them know how I am. Like, a lot of them have got to know that, a lot of stuff she posts isn't how she really is. Like, I'm not thirsty for dates. I just find the stuff funny.
Yeah, but you do get a lot. Hey,
I mean,
girl.
Some, but a lot of them are my friends, and they know they've already all tried, and we've already all been through that, and it just didn't work out. So,
I would say I'm more complicated. I'm not technically single, but I'm like, yeah.
Aw.
it's complicated.
yeah.
Complicated.
Yeah, I'm I'm in that category. So I'm here to listen to y'all's stories.
Mine's not complicated. It's just not
Isn't
official
it-
because I'm terrified of like committing to somebody and then having a switch flip and it's like so I don't know, I don't want that again.
Yeah. I feel
Yeah.
that.
Isn't it always complicated, though?
Nowadays, yeah.
Yes and no.
It's not
Yeah.
for like the first 2 weeks.
Oh, the
Yeah,
butterfly
glorious.
stage.
The fun zone.
Everything's
Yeah.
perfect. Oh my god.
There
I'm
was a
getting
movie
attention.
about that, about the first 5 dates or whatever, how everything's like, it might have been called I Hate Valentine's Day.
Oh, I think I saw that.
And she was talking about how like the first 5 dates are great, but then like after that, that's where it starts slipping.
Yeah. That's where you start learning your person's attachment style and you're like, what?
Yeah.
The mask. You get
Yeah.
to start.
Yeah.
That's why you have to give it time and wait for that
time
mask.
so that
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
see all the icks and be like, okay, I'm icked out
It's-
by
yeah.
this person. Or
Is
like,
that something-
okay, I actually like you.
Is that something I could deal with or not? You have to be
Or
honest
is it
with
too
yourself.
icky?
I know.
Yeah, does anybody have any, like-
those little quirks they have at first? Are they like cute at first, and they get kind of annoying after a while?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, does anybody have any like absolute no's? Any like this will give me the ick?
If someone does karaoke, I can't.
Karaoke's
That's
so
a real
fun,
one.
but not in like a
That's a hilarious
Public
one.
setting?
Did you
It has to be a private setting for me.
do you
Otherwise,
mean
I'm not
karaoke in
singing.
general, or do you mean the people that go out and they do the same song each week?
That.
Yeah, that
I
drives
can't.
me
There's
nuts.
so many songs that my ex used to sing at karaoke that if it comes on the radio,
You
you
turn
throw up.
it. You
Yeah.
just turn it. You're like, no.
I'll punch the button. Like,
The problem is they think they're good,
Oh, that's
and you have to do the polite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we should go do something else.
Yeah,
But-
you have another song in your repertoire.
We all have our deal breakers, though, and that's something that you have to be honest with yourself and everybody else. And a lot of people don't know their deal breakers.
I don't know. I lead.
Velcro shoes.
Velcro shoes? Oh my god.
Not
Who's
having
wearing
any
Velcro
tattoos.
shoes still?
Yeah, who?
No, it was the guy that showed up on first date. Velcro shoes. They were all gray. wanted
I
to
feel
throw
like
up.
unless
wow.
you're like 4 or under or like
60 and above.
75 or something. Yeah.
Were they
and
like
above.
orthopedic shoes
Didn't
too?
even bother to ask.
Oh, just like I saw the Velcro straps.
How long did the date last? Did you go through with it? Or did you come up? Or did you do that thing like girls do? Like you have your friend text you.
It was pretty
Get out of
uncomfortable.
The kid is sick. I need to go.
She's like,
I'm gonna do that
I-
next year for Valentine's
she's
Day.
like, I blocked him while we were on that date.
Well, no, he like flew in, so he was like staying at my place for a couple days. So
Oh,
that
wait,
was
wait,
really
wait.
uncomfortable.
Okay,
Oh, whoa.
First date, he flew in.
Yeah, but well, I mean, he was
Flew in
flying
from
to
where?
California anyway.
Um,
I just
Okay.
picked him up from the airport.
Met him online.
Yeah,
Okay.
Oh wow.
but he was moving there anyway to like do stand.
Oh, okay. Okay. So
So, yeah.
Maybe the Velcro shoes then were part of the act.
No.
Were they supposed to be silly?
They
Oh. Oh wow. He's
They
gonna
were
get
not-
heckled then.
They were not unironic.
Okay.
well, stand-up comics are a bit of a mess.
They like to dress
I know, I
a
love
little
them.
crazy.
They're great.
Yeah. No, but
They're just as fucked up as me.
I think anyone with a good sense of humor is a bit messed up.
Yeah.
I always lead with now. What kind of meds are you on?
That's a good one.
personal,
They're
though.
finding out their mental illnesses and stuff like that. That's
You're like
very important. You know?
remedying it under the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, I already know them. The experience. Oh, okay.
Mental illness, definitely.
I'm just on blood thinners.
I'm
Mine-
on Strattera.
Allergy pills here.
Well, I don't know. That's kind of a boring one.
I'm allergic to bullshit.
I don't know. I think though there is something like you said, Shawna. Like there is something like just a little bit of crazy to him.
Yeah.
Like just a touch, not the pure lunatic crazy. That comes out later.
Well, like, their parents probably weren't great to him, so it's like that's my in. That's a conversation starter right there.
Are your parents still together?
No, they're not together.
Yeah, let's go. That's what I go with. So let's go clockwise. What was your worst date?
Worst date?
Oh jeez.
I don't think I have been on any like dates where it's like not gone anywhere, because most of the time there's interest between me and the other person and then it ends up going somewhere. And then I feel like when I finally got to the point where I was with somebody that I went out on dates with, it was a queer relationship, so she was very thoughtful and like put a lot of effort into things. So I don't think I have a bad date.
Just wait for it.
Yeah.
Snow.
You'll know mine. It was the one where your friend had to come get me. Remember when I was in
Yeah,
story.
yeah. So
I went on a date in Vegas. The guy seemed cool at first. Then this is what started the fight. He did not like Tom Petty, and I was like, I don't know how to talk to you anymore. Then he's like, I'm sorry, that song Zombie Zoo, and I'm like, now that's one of my favorites out of the Obscures.
Because if they don't
Okay.
like Tom Petty.
I know, and I'm like, I don't know how to trust you if you're telling me that you don't like Tom Petty. Like, Tom Petty makes music for everyone. He always has. Like, everyone's at least, no matter what genre you're like really into, you still like had a love for Tom Petty, right? I'm like, yeah. And then
American.
it was just downhill from then, and I'm like, I need to leave. And
And
I had to
yeah,
have
yeah,
your friend
and
come and get
ironically-
me because I was drunk. I was drunk, and I'm like,
Ironically, I'm
don't know what to
I'm
do.
up on Vegas on a date too, and that date was going good, except the fact like she was like, "Well, we're not going to work out because you cannot afford to pay the mortgage of $75,000 a month on my 3 places." I'm like, "You're right. I'm not going to be able to." But we still had a good time that night, and then what happened?
and then she became my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then the date actually I shouldn't say the date was that bad because then I kind of like went and hung out with her
and did
and
karaoke.
we did karaoke
So,
at her house though, so it wasn't like it was at her
It
house.
wasn't pretentious. It was at home, not in public.
You know,
She was way better than me too. Like I'm terrible at karaoke, but I'll do it for a
Kick
laugh.
off your Velcro shoes
You know,
and sing
I-
some Tom Petty.
you know, maybe that was it because she was getting annoyed with me because I would only do anything in the voice of Bob Dylan or James Hetfield.
Okay, see, and
That's the only
I
two voices
and
can
I at
sing.
least did Gloria by Laura Branigan. Okay.
It's nice to know that your date with my date went a lot better than my date.
Right?
I'm sitting here thinking if I've had any dates that stand out, which they don't. I don't really go on like legit dates. It's just talking through texting, and
Then it's instantly on.
I mean, I don't. Nobody's done anything weird, I guess, that stands out. If anything, my bad dates would be with when I was with my son's dad. Our dates ended up in fights and all that, so it would be those. But meeting like the dudes off of the apps and stuff, Facebook dating. No, nobody's really done anything weird. I won't vibe with certain people. I just won't have another date. So
Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna ask if my junior prom counts because that was a pretty
What
shitty
happened?
date. My date was overstimulated and snapped at me, and we left prom like 15 minutes in because it was horrible.
Oh,
Oh, that's sad.
It was. I'm like, I wanted to leave too, but it was. I'm like, that I guess counts as my shitty date.
right.
Did you get to go to regular prom then and have a better time?
No, I think COVID was happening around the time that I was
Oh,
like
yeah.
a senior.
It would be, yeah, for
Yeah, 4 years ago.
That was a
Yeah.
whole fucking
oh.
thing. So I'm like, all of that is blurred together. I'm like, I
So did you have to graduate virtually?
didn't graduate.
You didn't graduate?
I didn't graduate.
You just gave it up?
Because I basically had so much anxiety in regular public school that I switched to an alternative school, and then I was doing really, really good online and everything, and I could go to a physical building and it was a lot less intimidating because it was a lot smaller. And then COVID hit and we were just home and I was doing really terrible, and then like I have 2 sisters with severe autism and everything, so that was like a whole, and Andy leaves for work for months at a time, and so much was going on that I was like, I can't do this, and I just kind of was like, no.
Yeah.
Shut up.
oh man.
Just pick one.
Oh, there's so many to choose from.
Or you
That's
can tell
terrible.
us a bunch of them.
Well,
It would
one
be
of them,
fun.
the guy hit a cow and killed it.
Oh, no.
In my car.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
I remember that story.
He totaled my car, hit a cow and killed it on a date.
Where
That-
were you guys going?
A little bit out of town.
Oh, okay.
That was a sign. The cow was trying to come in and save you.
Right?
Yep.
Sacrifice
that
himself.
cow
He took one for
sacrificed
the
himself.
team.
Yeah, he's like, I got you, girl.
Was the guy like a not great date?
He turned out to be a great human in general.
Oh,
That was
okay.
an omen.
Yeah, that's what I said. It was the cow was trying to save you, girl.
And then another one, I was going up to the lodge with someone I met on Facebook dating, and he did not tell me that he did not have teeth, which is fine, but it's something you mention, like, before you pick someone up. And then I'm, like, stuck in this dude's truck, and we,
It's
like,
kind of a shock.
go up there. Oh, and he mentions on the drive up there that he had been in prison. And I'm like,
Is this not stuff that you
cool.
mentioned to somebody before?
Huh. Yeah,
Um,
you would think that.
He did tell me before that he had gotten in trouble for drugs. And then we get to the restaurant and he says something about like sleeping with me afterwards. And I'm like, oh, that's not happening. And he's like, why? And I'm like, it's our first date, dude. Like, I don't know you. And he kept being persistent about it. And finally I was like, I'm on my period. And he's like, I've never minded a few blood clots in my beard before. And I was
Oh my God.
Dang.
He was not giving up.
yeah.
Wow.
And then after that, he suddenly dropped. Also, I have Hep C, but it's only transferable through blood. Mine,
Oh.
not yours.
Let me out of this truck right
That
now.
was the
Bye.
absolute
Check,
worst.
please.
Worst
Okay, I
date.
think
And
I'm
then-
gonna start advocating for doing background checks on people.
Yeah.
You have to.
Well, then when he
That's
dropped me off, he's like
crazy.
texting me, "Why didn't you kiss me? Goodbye." I'm like, "Oh, good God!"
Oh,
You're like,
no, I saw a couple blood clots in your beard. I was going, hey, go.
Dear Lord.
I just remembered a date. This was last year, but so I picked this dude up. I had met him on Facebook dating. I pick him up and we go to an 80s party downtown. And he's popping Molly like the whole time on the first date. And I'm like, and drinking too. And I'm like, dude, like, if we were going to try to get to know each other, like, I'm not going to get to know who he really is. Then we went to Sundowner afterwards, and he was just trying to pick a fight with everybody. Like, oh, that dude's looking at me. I'm like, no, he's not. Like, let's just play
great.
pool. And
You're all,
so-
here's a pillow.
Yeah.
I'll pet it.
so somebody just showing up, just popping Molly and all that. So that was, I told him, I was like, that's too much for me. We're still friends, though. He's a good friend of mine. But that date just, no.
I got you all topped.
I bet you do. There's some
Yeah.
crazy.
I'm trying to think of which this would be then.
Oh, come on, you know.
Okay, well,
My
tell
head
it.
would get shot at.
Oh,
Yeah, I was
yeah.
gonna say, is this for the
Right.
literally dodged a bullet?
Literally. No, the second one was I met this girl in Vegas, and it was going good. Like the first day was good and stuff like that. First night was good, and the second day was a little bit weird. She was on her phone like a lot, and I went to go get dinner because she didn't want to go out, and I just see her. I come back to the room, she's just like texting and texting and texting. I ended up being, because she wasn't looking up, I'd be like, I text her, I'm like, by the way, I'm back. And
The food's here.
it turned out she was texting her ex-boyfriend. As soon as she stopped texting, she told me that she'd be like, my friend's coming to get me in an hour, and I'm going back with my ex. I'm just like, wow.
Dang, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
On a date.
On a date.
That's great. Why would
Yeah.
you even say that?
After I
First
paid
of all,
for
if you're
dinner.
gonna do that, fine.
You're
But
like the
don't
cooler.
say it. That's crazy.
I am.
The William H. Macy of dating.
Oh yeah, like if you want to get back with your ex-boyfriend, date me, and he will call you up, and you'll be back together.
You're like,
immediately.
good luck, Chuck.
in reverse.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it works.
No.
All right, so worst breakup, and that would be the same person, the one got shot at. But it was on Valentine's Day or shortly after. We went to Sedona. We spent a few days in Sedona. Had a great time. Best weekend I ever had. And I got back home and she ghosted me. And I never heard from her since.
Aw.
She just wanted a Sedona trip. She's like, thanks for the trip to Sedona.
Well, she could at
Always
least even
smart,
said that.
Right? Yeah. She was like, probably not. I don't know.
Yeah.
Worst breakup then.
Yeah.
All right, Stella.
Probably my most recent one, because that was a whole shit show where I was living in Yuma, and I feel like, long story short, they kissed somebody else, their best friend, and I threw a huge shit fit. I was like, that's not happening. Like, nope. And she was like, well, fine, I pay all the bills, so get out. And so I called my mom because I was like, fine, I will get out. And then she was like, what? You're gonna really, like, leave? And I'm like, I was super hungover because I was drinking the night before and everything. And so, like, it's not a blur, but a blur at the same time, because I was just, like, hungover, and I'm like, fine, like, I'm calling my mom, I'm going back to Kingman. Like, I'm leaving. And so, yeah, she, like, left the apartment and was arguing with me over the phone and, like, all sorts of shit. And basically, yeah, I was like, I'm taking both the cats then. Like, you didn't want them in the
Cats
first
are
place.
mine.
I was like, you didn't want them in the first place. Like, I'll take the cats. Like, then you don't have to be financially responsible for them, whatever, this and that. And then she wanted the other cat, Toby, so she took Toby. And I ended up with Silas, which is the one that I'm super bonded to him anyways. Like, basically, she brought him as a little tiny, like, 2-month-old kitten. Like, she found him outside her work and was like, so if we can keep this cat. And I was like, okay, like, I want him. And so, yeah, I ended up with him and basically moved back here, like, moved 4 hours away. And so my whole life got, like, uprooted in a sense. And I would say that's pretty
Yeah.
ridiculous breakup.
Okay.
Not ridiculous, but a lot of fallout. And then having to go back and get my stuff and everything. And
That's never
Yeah,
fun.
that sucks.
no, my stepdad, my uncle had to drive
Keep
back
it.
because my car was fucking there. My car was there, and I had taken the keys, and my roommate had borrowed it because her car broke down, and they had parked it in a fucking shitty spot where it got a notice on it where basically we had to go fucking deal with it, otherwise it was gonna get towed. And so, yeah, like, a whole bunch of shit happened, and I had to go back, and me and my uncle rode back in my car, and I ended up getting my other cat out of it, which was a bonus, but it was, yeah.
A mess.
Yeah. And I still left a bunch of shit, and they were like, are you going to come back and get it? And I was like, no, you can sell it.
Yeah,
You can
no.
toss it. Like, I don't give a fuck. I'm not going back.
Snow yours.
Mine also involves gunshots. My
Damn.
No wonder y'all get
What is
along.
up with
My,
gunshots?
yeah,
Really
my second
emotional over
fiance broke into my house one day. I broke up with him, and he broke into my house one day and shot his gun off in my house, trying to claim that he was like suicidal and whatnot, and going that route. Yeah. So when I got home, the neighbor comes over with his gun in his jean shorts. He wears cut off jean shorts. He's like, you gotta call the police. You gotta call the police. So I called the cops. I made the report. At first I only knew about, like the whole part where he was drinking all day with the neighbor and had broken. The neighbor saw him break in and blah, blah, blah. So then I filed the whole police report. Then about like 10 minutes later, I call the cop back. I go, I just noticed that there's his gun on my nightstand. And then I looked up and there's some holes in my bedroom wall. Like up towards, kind of by the ceiling or whatnot. Yeah. He tried to lie about it though. I'm like, because he's like sitting there saying, he's like, well, I had the gun against my temple. And then it wasn't comfortable. So I pulled it back, and then I pulled the trigger, and it just went into the wall like that. And I'm like, all right, you're a fucking liar, because I've watched too many forensic files to know that would never happen. I'm like, you purposely aimed it, shot into my wall, and then made up your grandiose story.
Like when people fucking shoot somebody and put the gun in their hand and they're like, oh, they killed themselves. It's like, is there gunpowder residue on their hand? Like, are they, like, why, most of the time, like, it's gonna fall out of their hand. Like,
Yeah,
they
it's
must
like,
be
this
gripping
would've never
the fuck
happened.
out of that shit
I'm
for
like,
it to
thanks
stay.
for not killing yourself, though. I don't want to come home to a bunch of guts in my house if that,
Hey, at
like,
least there was a
brain
couple
guts.
holes in the
I'm
wall.
like, I mean,
Ugh.
A lot better.
and he was terrible. Yeah, and this was after I had already had a restraining order against him, and he still did that.
Jeez.
So, yeah. There's like, I might sound a little like insensitive about it. Like I'm, I wasn't hoping it went any way different than it did. But I was just like, you just need to get out of my life. You know?
All right, these stories are getting hard to top.
Well, I've only had 3 breakups before. Me and my son's dad, we broke up probably, I don't know, 400 times in 7 years, like all the time. So those breakups were always bad and abusive, but I don't count that because I finally left him. But the last 2 dudes I had relationships with, this last one, which was like over 2 years ago, so he came down for Christmas because he lived 4 hours away. And for Christmas, it sucked because I found out my cousin passed away that day and I was closer to my cousin. So I was all emotional. I was bawling. So he got to see all that. And then he even gives me for a Christmas present is like, on like the Lord of the Rings, like that necklace, the forever one or something. I forget. I haven't seen the movie in a while. But anyways, he gave me that. It symbolizes forever, right? So then he ends up breaking up with me 2 days after that.
Forever's a
Oh
short
my
time.
God.
Which I crack up. I laugh when I
Forever
look at that
is
necklace
2
now.
days.
I'm like, that's
2 days later is
forever. No, he broke up with me. He got into his head about his own insecurities, but the way he did it was, he saw me grieving, so he already saw me like that. and we kind of got into a disagreement. And he's like, you know what? I'm done. And I'm like, done with what? He's like, you. And then he just blocked me on everything. It wasn't even a bad disagreement. It was a pretty cool relationship. I didn't see any of that coming, especially you just gave me a forever necklace. But knowing that, I think that's a bad breakup, knowing that the person that you care for and love for is grieving a death and you want to go and add that to it. My boyfriend before that did the same thing. Yeah, that's like,
that is a bad breakup. I mean,
and then just to block like that.
That's a bad person. Not like that person's not a good person doing stuff like
so
that.
It sucks with situations like that because it's like, okay, the way you broke up with me, I don't even think I want you as a friend because a friend wouldn't do that to me and not think about my feelings like that. You just straight up didn't care. And so I'm not friends with any of my exes. I don't talk to them. I don't like how they went about stuff. So
I don't either. I don't talk to my exes.
Yeah, I mean,
there's no point really.
Like that kind of damage, I don't. And he tried to talk to me after the fact, but he was lying to me. He already was like talking to another girl like soon after, so she might have been there the whole time. I don't know, but to do that when I was already feeling so low, I think that's just like you didn't.
It is. You just lost your cousin, and
like,
somebody does that. That's a dick move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Small dick energy.
Literally, I see where the two coincide there. A little D energy.
How about you, Shawna?
Oh,
well, we know.
Yeah.
Well, I know that one. We don't have to go
my
there.
last marriage. It's been almost 4 years. I had
It's been 4 years.
almost,
now?
yeah.
Oh my God.
Wow.
We were still living together when we split. But he got remarried 20 seconds after I left the house and knocked a homeless chick up.
So you know that was going on before.
Yeah. But it was painful and it was awful, and I definitely had my little post-divorce mental breakdown. But I'm really thankful for it now. It's taught me a lot of what to look out for in new relationships with people, seeing those red flags, understanding what narcissistic behavior is, and I mean, he hasn't been diagnosed with that, but my therapist was pretty convinced, so I don't know.
And at least now she gets to deal with the narcissist.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I felt bad about her getting involved with it, but I don't know who how she is as a person or whatever. Maybe they are suited for each other.
Mm-hmm. Some
Could
people
be.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was pretty rough. Custody, the court stuff was the worst. So he took me to court. I think we've gone 12 times in 2 years.
What?
So, yeah.
That seems like a lot.
Excessive?
Yeah.
And it was stupid shit, like filing for emergency custody because I don't clip my son's toenails consistently.
Oh my
And
god!
the judge was like, and this is an emergency, how?
How dare you?
911.
Yeah. No, it was just a lot, It's just like you're going through a divorce or whatever. Everyone's emotions are on high. And then, of course, the whole time I'm thinking what the title of this podcast, I'm going to die alone.
Well, I
I'm
mean,
trying to scramble to find a new boyfriend, which is never a good idea.
no, just believe me, I know that. Like just to date someone, just to be dating someone.
No, I'm
the way to
very
go.
happy being alone now.
I don't think I can do that because I start to get irritated with somebody or like annoyed with little things or just like, I don't know, like if I don't genuinely like you, I'm like, I can't stick it out. I can't be with you just to be with you.
No, I can't either. They have to be.
I can't.
If
I don't know how
if they're
people do
like
that.
boring, I can't do it. That's why you need a little bit crazy.
No, a little bit, but like make
Just a
sure they
little-
don't have a
little bit.
gun.
A fine balance. Like
You have to be
you
able
gotta
to
walk
match my
a
energy.
tightrope.
I guess I miss the companionship part of it, but I
that.
really love being alone too. So it's hard, like trying to choose something that's better than your own peace.
It's always good to
That's
work
what-
on yourself, though, too.
Well,
It's
I
good
think
to
that's
do that.
hard in relationships because I like my alone time too. And you all remember, the Queen of Mean that used to live downtown, and she would want to just constantly be with me, and I'm just like, okay, well, yeah, we can hang out. But there was stuff like I'd like to do, like, just watch sports or whatever. And she's like, I don't like watching sports. I'm like, okay, well, you can watch whatever. This is what I like to do. We don't have to be in the same room 24/7. And I like my alone time to recharge.
Mm-hmm. Well, now she has a semen. She's doing great.
Oh, she's had plenty of semen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo.
I don't think Stella knows this story, but anyone else at the table does. She created a private Facebook chat group to talk about, men and stuff, and it was mostly about me.
You hurt her. I don't know how, but it's like you were the one that did like most of the fucked up shit. I don't understand this, but okay, turn it around.
That's how it goes.
Woo.
Well, they had to do to deflect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She had to save face. I'm thinking that's what it was all about,
Hey, I'm not the one who sent a picture of a naked man's butt to her.
Right? Right? I know. Whoopsie!
You're learning about love today, Stella.
Yeah.
I
That was
know
a
about
double
love,
dip,
but
like
I just like hearing about the drama.
Spill the tea.
And a funny story.
This person
The guy-
is a total drama queen, too.
Yeah. Well, yeah. This person is a drama queen, but it turns out the naked butt guy that she sent me a picture of is the guy that hired me for my current job.
Oh, no. Yeah,
So it all worked out. It all worked out.
worked
This
out.
is a
Karma.
small town.
That ass looks familiar.
How
A
did
small
you figure
town,
that
small
out?
county.
You should have seen the look on his face. Like, hey, didn't one night you were at such and such, and you went back to such and such, and you were with such and such, and he looked at me like, how did you know that? I was like, that was my ex-girlfriend.
You're like, I got
And the
a
look
picture of your
of, like, the
cheeks,
color
buddy.
goes out of his face.
But then did you reassure him? Nah, I didn't
No,
care.
I was like,
I
no,
don't-
I
I
was like,
seriously
she was,
don't care.
I was like, she was nuts, and he was like, yeah, she was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, but
crazy.
Shawna, didn't you just have a breakup?
Yep, yesterday.
It's very recently.
Yesterday. Oh my gosh.
Well, I don't know. It was like really strange. It wasn't like a very serious relationship. We were dating, and he was just seemed over the moon about me. He was just saying, I already get butterflies about you. I feel like I love you. Like I see us getting married. Get your passport. We're gonna go on vacations, and then
So love bombing.
yeah, which
Yeah.
like I should have known. But god damn, he was 6'4".
Yeah,
Okay.
things start to become
Yeah.
not so clear when.
Why do the tall guys always get so many
don't
passes?
fucking
Like
know.
pass after pass after pass.
I don't
Ugh.
know what it is. What is that? Just comfort.
Oh,
I don't
no.
know. But so anyway, then, texts start slowing down as they do. And I asked him, what's going on? Like things have been weird. And he's like, you just seem obsessive. And I was like, I'm not the one professing my love immediately and telling you to take my last name and go to fucking
Right.
Cancun with me.
Well, then
And how long
obviously
is-
he's
like-
a projector. He's projecting. That's what it sounds like to
And
me.
how soon in was he
Put
doing
his,
all this?
yeah.
love
Oh, like
bombing?
immediately.
Like immediately?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his
Yeah,
own
no, get him
stuff.
outta
my
here.
dream girl, and I'm like, how?
You don't even know me. That's the thing. A lot of
Like,
that.
give me a couple months where you
Yeah.
like at least you know me better enough to be like, I really like you. Like, I think you
Yeah.
might be my dream person. And even then, I'm like,
My
okay.
soulmate, you're amazing. You don't even know me, so that's
You
why it
don't
makes no
know
sense
me.
right there. Yeah, it sounds good,
You
and
don't know me.
I'm one of those people
It's
where
nice to hear, but you don't know me.
where they tell me that stuff, I believe it because I'm like, I am amazing. Shit, this dude knows what he's talking about. So he's legit, but he really doesn't know.
Exactly.
I feel like it's
That's
like,
why
wait,
women
I'm-
fall
it
for it.
works,
'Cause they're
like-
like, you finally a guy realizes all this shit
I know, and at
that
this
I've been
point,
knowing.
I feel like it makes sense where I'm like, okay, like I'm young, I can take my time and like not string somebody along, but be like, I like you, I'm gonna take my time with this. If you can't be patient,
That ain't for
You're
you. No,
already,
that's
like-
that's your boundaries, and that's when
You're
they need
already-
to go. I get pressured a lot. Like they're in a rush. They're like, be my girlfriend by the end of this week. I'm like,
that's
Move
I
this
like
along,
people that aren't in a
because they're
rush.
probably
That's
like,
what
I want to
about
get
my
to the
current
sex part. Let's go.
situation,
Come
because
on.
We're not in a rush. And
Seriously.
I'm like, that's nice.
like what is the rush? We have all the time to get to know each other. But a lot of people want to lock somebody down so that way, once I got them in, then they can't leave me. Once they start seeing like the real me, they can't leave. But that's not true. That's why all these breakups happen
One
now.
of the things I feel like I try to do right off the bat is like, okay, here's all my red flags. Here's all my things that like might put somebody off about me, and then people can kind of pick and choose. Like, okay, like
I just let them find out. Like, choose your own adventure.
I feel like I'm pretty
Like
much
those books?
very
Yeah.
like
Turn to page
everything's out there on the open, or everything's out there.
I
in
used
the
to love
open,
those.
So I'm very like, I don't know, people can see it like as it is, so I'm like, all right, like you can see everything right here as it is, like either you're here or you're not.
Crazy.
I don't know. Just dating just causes anxiety, though.
So then we
Sometimes it
shift into
does.
anxiety. This is like the gateway right to it, right?
Raise your hand if you have anxiety.
I don't.
You don't
You
have anxiety?
Well, I don't. I feel like mine's really going away though lately. That's why I want to hear some of the good anxiety stories, and then I'll tell mine.
Well, I have the first time I ever actually had anxiety and felt like a panic attack was from the last dude that I was dating.
Yeah.
He gave me so much pressure with trying to rush things, like.
And pressure will do it.
Yeah, he was very anxious himself, and I started picking it up in my nervous system. I became dizzy one night, and I didn't know why, because I'm healthy. Like, I take care of myself. I know I'm in good shape.
Anxiety.
And so me and him had a disagreement, and later that night, I got really dizzy, and this was like the point where I realized this person's not for me. Because I left a message to him saying, like, I don't feel good. Like, I'm dizzy. If this keeps happening, I'm going to go to the ER. So I left that. He had already went to sleep. So when I woke up, all I get are texts from him continuing that argument we had before that happened. He didn't ask, like, how are you feeling? Are you okay? He just straight up went to what we were talking about. And he's like, well, go find another dude then and all that. I'm like, okay, this dude showed no concern about my well-being. Like, not cool. I go, that's the first time I ever had an anxiety attack. It's you, dude. You got to go. So guess what? He's gone, and I ain't never had another one. So
Good job.
Yeah, and the person downtown, she like created a lot of anxiety because she liked her alcohol a little bit too much, I think, and she liked to have the same argument over and over again. It's like, didn't we have this argument? Didn't we come up to at least a understanding,
Right.
not resolution, but
moving on
understanding?
from this, yeah.
And then we would be having that argument 2 weeks later, and then it became the same argument every week. And it was every other day, and it was to the point where I'm sleeping at the couch of my own house. I'm like going, there's something wrong here. I can't do this. And then she sent me a naked picture.
Oh, no.
So-
Oh yeah, of the dude's butt.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant for, oh, okay.
Not even her
Yeah.
own naked picture.
Okay.
No, naked picture.
That, yeah, no. If somebody's making your body, you gotta listen to your body. That's the thing I've learned. When you first meet somebody and something feels off and your body's starting to feel ways, most of the time people think like butterflies and all that's good. No, that's trauma coming up. When you meet somebody good for you, you're gonna feel calm. You're gonna feel not those feelings. That's your body speaking. Butterflies are not good. Everybody thinks they are.
Oh
No.
my God! You just reached one that bang bang Sedona.
It's yeah.
Yeah, I used to have wow.
It's
I
trauma.
didn't take it as a warning sign.
That's a warning. Yeah. Your body's starting to pick up stuff from that other person, and we don't listen to that.
Or
Or
what is it they say? It's because it feels familiar.
Yeah,
like
it's your-
childhood.
like, oh my God, I felt this feeling before, but that feeling you felt before was most likely trauma, and that's why we think. And that's why people, and the friend zone comes in, is because people get friend zoned because somebody's not familiar with that. Like, this feels weird with them. That's just a friend to me. It's a good thing you've never experienced before. You're used to negative stuff, trauma, all this shit. So you're going to likely go back to what you know,
Wait a
what
minute.
you're familiar with.
Wait a minute. Are you saying like I gave all of you a bad vibe at one point?
No. I've already been honest with you about where I was at with that. I have rules, and one of them is age. I don't want to lie to myself. I actually had a dude ask me out recently that was 20 years older than me. I'm 40, so he was 60. Well, he is 60. And I had to tell him. I was like, he approached me so nice. He's like, you're intelligent. He's like, I love your sense of humor, everything. He's like, I'd like to take you out on a date. And I felt so bad. I was like, what do I say? The old me would have came up with like well, you know, I'm kind of seeing some, like, kind of lying to him a little bit. I'm seeing somebody and all this. I'm like, no, I gotta be honest. So I told him, I was like, the age gap between us, that's not my thing. It's not for me, you know, because I want to get more active in my life. And I picture if I'm with somebody that's 60 in 10 years, but I don't know how things are going to be going. So
You might need a walker.
yeah,
Well,
so I'm
like,
trying
I'm not
to.
there
It takes
yet.
a lot of upper body strength to change someone's diaper.
Oh,
Yeah, so I'm thinking, but you have to be honest with somebody and communicate it. Don't ghost somebody.
Yeah.
Like, be honest. Be like, hey, I'm not feeling this, or I wasn't this. Thank you for your time. Best of luck. Everybody just kind of just vanishes like that.
It's like Snow and I met off a dating site, but then we realized we both had the same last name, and we'd be like, no, it's too weird.
You're related somewhere.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, we could be related.
Especially since my family did come over on the Mayflower. That's up in that region.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's better not chance.
we probably are related, like distant cousins.
But we realized that very soon into the first meeting, and then we just became really good friends.
Wasn't there a celebrity recently that found out like his wife was like a distant cousin or something of his?
I
keep seeing it.
remember
I don't
some.
remember who it was.
I don't remember.
That would be weird.
That would be
And
terrible.
they were like married, right?
Yeah, they were like married and it was his wife, but it was like some celebrity
Oh,
and I
like
keep
a
seeing the
family.
article and stuff, but I don't remember who it is because I didn't take it in. I
I don't think it was
keep seeing it.
I think it was a famous celebrity. It was just kind of a minor celebrity. But yeah, I heard something about
Yeah,
that.
it was some celebrity, but
That'd be awful.
That would.
I wouldn't know what to feel at that point. I would be like, okay, great. So we've been married for how long? And we're related? And, like, I don't know if they've had kids together, but, like, we've had kids together, maybe. Like,
Probably be my luck.
Well,
Look, I found the love of my life. So we're
Well.
related.
well, I mean, in this town, it would fly.
Small. It's too small.
Or Kentucky.
Yeah, no, I don't really like to date dudes in Kingman because I know everybody's history. I know who they've been with. I know how they are in relationships. I know it's too much. But even with recently, even Mojave County is small because me and Shawna were recently involved with the same dude.
Well, I wasn't
So,
involved. I
well,
talked to
try
him.
Facebook dating and all that
Yeah, I
stuff.
just talked to
but
him.
meeting the same people.
I didn't
matching
meet
with the
him,
same people.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
No,
matching-
but he was pretty hung up on Shelly.
Yeah, so when you're going on a dating app, you might want to get over the person you were just dating because this dude was on the dating app telling Shawna here about me, you know, pretty much saying I'm crazy and a lot of that stuff, and she knows who I am.
Not knowing
So
that you guys know each other.
Yeah.
That's so.
this
This is Kingman. Who doesn't know each other? Like,
and that's the thing, like, also, too, like, if somebody's gonna be going around, like, this county saying that I'm crazy, I know a lot of people, and a lot of people will be like, she's not crazy, dude. So if you're saying that there's something wrong with you, run! You know, but it's too small.
I had
yeah.
in the summertime, I like to have like barbecues over at my house, and I had a few friends over and stuff like that. Snow, I think you were there, and there was a couple that showed up that was a friend of one of my friends, and I didn't know them. But the next day, I look on a dating site and I saw her, and I had just met him like the night before, but I think we were Facebook friends. But I almost felt like saying, like, dude, I didn't say anything, but I was like, dude, you know your girlfriend's on. You know?
Well, then you got to think too. They could be swingers because there's that going on in this town too.
I feel like they'll kind of give some indication on the profile where it's like it's a
Some might.
couple
Usually
or
they
like
put a picture of themselves together.
Yeah.
Usually.
There's some indication, even if it's little.
Or maybe they have an open relationship where they're allowed to still date each other. You didn't see the dudes on there, so maybe he's on there too.
Well, yeah, I'm not gonna say the dudes.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe they're both on the
We'll do a
dating
deep dive.
site. Expand your horizons.
It's the only way. It's the only way to find somebody. Just kidding. No. No, we're not settling anymore.
Yeah, I can't settle.
No, I can't either. It's not worth it to me. That's what it's about, is finding somebody that adds to your life, not takes from you. If you're already okay by yourself, then, there's nothing wrong with that. Self-love. That's everything. It really is. It's cliche, but it really is. When you know your value and your worth, you won't deal with much. It's not worth it. So.
Yeah, true. But okay, Shawna, we'll go from this. So you had like the most recent heartbreak.
Well, I wouldn't say heartbreak.
Okay, so
It was a little disappointing.
disappointing.
Yeah. It's like a letdown.
It is
You
because
know?
it's like, man,
Like, God damn
Like,
it!
I
I was
was-
start another Facebook.
Yeah,
dating
You're like, I was
profile.
enjoying getting to know you, and yeah, then you decided that
You decided
thought
to be
I was the
weird.
obsessive one, even though you're driving all the way here to have lunch with me and telling me you want to marry me. Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
I was
buddy.
being sweet to him for sure. I am a very affectionate person, in a relationship, and he wanted to be exclusive, and I felt like I wasn't being obsessive. I was just being sweet, but
Mhm.
Which you're allowed to. And I feel like anybody's
Yeah.
allowed to in a relationship and be like, okay, these are my love languages. Like, these are how I
Mhm.
express love. This is how I receive love. Like,
yeah,
but
I'm pretty upfront about all that with people too.
I am
You-
too. Because
I
I feel
think-
like it just makes it so much easier to weed stuff out.
Mhm.
Or be like, okay, like, this is almost like you can say something to somebody and be like, okay, you took this in. You took this to heart. You were listening. Or
Right.
you didn't give a fuck about what I had to
Yeah,
say.
well, I go through that because obviously looking at this around the table, I obviously have a lot of female friends, and I tell people that up front. Like, I have female friends. If you're the jealous type,
this ain't gonna
this
work.
is
Yeah.
not going to work because
Exactly.
I am not leaving my.
Mhm.
You're like,
I'm not
my
gonna be
female
my friends.
friends will befriend you.
Yeah.
Just
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, like
I can't do the jealousy
Snow's,
or the
Snow's
insecurity.
become friends with all my.
I
Yes,
was
I've
friends
dated.
with all of them.
Yeah.
Every single person that you dated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I tell them up front, like, hey, this person's in my
Yeah.
life.
Yeah,
and
I'm like,
it's
I'm a
gonna
hugger.
continue.
I'm gonna, if I see one of my guy friends across the bar, I'm gonna go hug him, and that's just who I am. I'm like,
And
gonna
I
stop
liked
hugging.
all of them. Like, I actually, I don't think they're terrible people, even though like some of them didn't work out. But it's like
No,
they,
they were all good people.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I have pretty decent taste, other than the psychosis. But
right? Yeah, that part. Ooh. Ooh.
That's why you vet them by pills now.
yeah, that's why I say, what were you on?
What medications
Show
do
me
you
your
regularly
pill
take?
cabinet.
Well, yeah,
I need to know.
isn't asking though better than going into the medicine
Oh,
cabinet
no.
and going,
No, I'd be asking everything. I want to know everything about a person
And
before I
that's
commit
what
to
I'm-
them.
I'm fine with that. Like, I would rather somebody ask, like, goofy ass questions that somebody might not typically ask, because I'm like, well, that's, I don't know, it just makes me feel like, okay, so you're more interested, like,
yeah, I
I don't know, does that
I
make
had
sense?
3
Mhm.
bipolar women in a row that I dated, and by the third one, I didn't go. For the first 2, I did she's crazy, she's nuts. By the third one, I realized it's a condition. She can't help it. What can I do to help her?
Mhm.
And I researched it. I went to appointments with her. I joined a self-help group for partners of bipolar people. And that one,
Aw.
I really tried on
You-
that one.
You did, and that's the thing too. I sometimes feel bad for people because like the dude I dated was very high strung ADHD, so he would get super frustrated fast, and he's like, "That's my ADHD." But for me, I'm like, but we're like, I feel bad because I care about this dude, but how much do I give of myself and try to be understanding with his condition or whatever, a disease as well?
And-
Like, where's the line there? Like, but you have to go off of how somebody makes you feel. If you're not feeling good about it, you have to
You're
look
not
out for
feeling
yourself
good.
first.
Because there's other people with ADHD that at whatever age he was, like,
Uh-huh.
will, like, even if they have trouble self-regulating, like, they can, like,
Mhm.
have tools in place to
Right.
I've seen
self-regulate
that
or
in my family where people
be
are able to
medicated
self-regulate
or-
after.
Yeah, so I think some of the stuff I'm like, you can't use some of that behavior on all your,
you
know.
can't use it as an excuse. You can
Yeah.
say, hey, this is like an explanation and I'm
Mhm.
sorry, I'm going to try to like work on this or that or whatever.
Yeah.
But you can't use it as an excuse.
Mhm.
Right. And to be fair, the one that I did make an effort with, she would sometimes use that, and she'd be aware of it, and she would do that thing where you just need to leave. I'm like, okay, I'll go. And by the time I lived 15 minutes away. By the time I was like 5 minutes away from my house, she'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm coming back. I'm like, no, you told me to go. I'll come back tomorrow. Okay, and
Mhm.
forget all this, but no, I'm not playing this game of coming
Right.
back and
Yeah.
doing all that stuff.
That's That's a bit much to
And
have
I
to
feel like
make the other person deal with.
I can understand, but yes, it is a lot for the other person to deal with. And like I've had stuff like that where like my emotions are all over the place, but more as a teenager. Like now I've got a lot more, like where I'm like, okay, you can't do this. You have to regulate. You have to like. I did shit like that more as a teenager when it was like, okay, like I don't have words to explain my mental health or do this or do that. Like shit, I was doing at 15.
Yeah.
Well, you're maturing quick. Shoot, I just barely matured a few years ago.
I still haven't.
I know. I'm still working
I
hard.
mean, there's things.
It will
Things
always
I
be a work
But
in progress.
being self-aware of yourself, and that's
one thing.
that's
yeah,
a lot of thing. A
that
lot
I'm
of people don't do is they don't
very-
question their actions or anything like that, and that's the way to truly get to know yourself. Is why do I do this? Where does this come from within me? And a lot of people
Yeah.
don't question
And
themselves.
I didn't realize that until that last relationship that was a lot of trauma was after that I was like going, maybe I should speak to somebody.
Mhm.
And I did. I went in and watching enough Sopranos, I was like, all right, this is how you do it. You know, you just be open and honest about it, and you just, you know, I mean, they're gonna listen to you, and they're gonna give you their little insights and stuff like that. They're not gonna fix you. It's about you
Mhm.
coming to a self-realization. And after about 3 sessions, she was like, I think we're done here. You seem to have a good grip on what's wrong with you. I'm like, no, I think we're just scratching the
I
surface.
think I
Yeah, I need you.
She's like, you know more than I do. Maybe you were telling her more than she was telling you, and she was like feeling like, I don't really feel like I'm helping this guy.
Well,
I
that's
think
the thing.
he's-
That's when you look for another therapist that can be like, okay, you're self-aware, but let's try these techniques
Right.
or try these techniques
Right.
this
She
way.
probably wasn't
Like,
experienced enough.
it's because
That's what it sounds
therapy's
like.
not just going and figuring out problems all the time. Like, there's so many different things that people do within therapy, and like, there's different forms of therapy.
And then I came to this realization because I'd come back to Vermont because my stepdad passed away, and you know, no offense to my mom, I love her to death, but I never realized like my mom is a little bit crazy, and you know, it was like wow, I was like driving back from Vermont to Boston. I was just like going, wow, this all makes sense now. Why do I pursue these crazy women? Because that's what you know.
Yes,
that's what you grew up with.
that's me. Like why I would go for a lot of emotionally unavailable dudes is probably because my dad, growing up, we didn't have an emotional connection. So again, it goes back to you go to what's familiar, and until you really dig deep and heal that wound, it'll be on loop.
Mm-hmm.
That's why that self-awareness.
Yeah.
It's hard work to go within, but it
Yeah.
has to be done, or else you're just going to be doing the same things. A different person, or same experience, but different person.
Yeah, different person, but it's like the same person.
Yeah,
it's,
similar
it's the same,
stuff.
Groundhog's
the,
Day.
the same red flags.
We're like, why isn't this ever working out? That's when you have to be like, okay, what is it within me? Why do I keep choosing this? And for me, mine was, why do I keep ignoring the red flags? That's me going after that. I'm not doing that anymore. I swear I'm not. Because I'm talking to about like a few different guys right now. They have an interest in me, but all of them just, if you're listening right now, mute this part on that part.
It's not you I'm talking about. It's them.
Like, no, different situations, just fresh out of a relationship. To me, no. I need to know that you had time on your own and that you processed that whole relationship and you know what you want and you've healed from a lot of that stuff. I don't want to entertain that anymore. If I see somebody like they're not over their ex, or I can see things within them, I won't pursue it. Dudes that don't make enough effort for me or stay consistent, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to chase anybody. Like, there's people that live in like Vegas and stuff. All the guys, when are you going to come see me? And I'm like, when are you going to come see me? Like, when are you going to drive to me? Like, as a masculine, you should be pursuing a woman like that. You're just going to lay back and expect. And me, somebody, I've never even drove in a big city, so I don't do that. But yet I'm talking to guys that, I love driving. Well, if you love driving so much, then come see me.
I've heard that so much.
Yeah. So what that stuff. I'm not gonna chase anybody.
Because I've had
don't do that.
people, when are you going to come up to Vegas? And it's like, no. And then I've had like one date that I kind of went on where somebody drove down from Vegas and picked me up and we went back up to Vegas. And I'm like, that's the kind of effort that I'm looking for.
Yeah, you
like,
can see that.
It's my first time meeting you. You're in Vegas. Like, I'm in a little city. I don't drive. I would be scared to drive in a big city. Like,
well, I have no
factors
problem
where
going to
I'm like-
Vegas, though, just because I know there's better restaurants and stuff.
Oh,
like
yeah,
that.
oh, I have no problem going to Vegas. I just don't want to have to drive because now I also can't drive. But
yeah, with your situation, if somebody was really interested in you, they would understand, hey, she's not comfortable driving in a big city. I love driving, so let me be the one to...
let me just come pick you up. Let me come to your city. Something.
Well, and also for a first date, I think it's more comfortable if they're in an area that they're familiar with.
Yes, that's true, too. Yeah. And it's scary for meeting up with a guy somewhere or something. It's more scary for women, of course.
Yeah.
It's just how it goes, but... No, I'm not. I don't mess around anymore. I'm like, I'm done. I'm the red flags. No, I'm not ignoring them anymore. I really am not. I'm set on it. And I can tell how I am now with these dudes. I'm not leaning in like, oh, they're giving me attention. They're hitting me up. A good morning, good night. Like that stuff used to get me. Like,
So
but
now you're like, man.
I'm right at the tail end of
It's
giving
about
a shit
consistency.
about any of that.
yeah, and it's not. Anybody can text. We all text and stuff. That doesn't mean anything. Show me something else. Are we truly compatible? I don't. Or just the ones that, like, most of the time from the dating apps, all it is like, hey, how's your day? Hey, how's your day? Good, good. Are you going to ask anything else about me? Like anything about my family? How many siblings I have? Where do I want to, where do I want to
What's my favorite
live?
color? What's my zodiac sign?
Your
Any of
passions,
it.
goals, values?
Any of it.
Nothing. They don't ask any of that. It's just like, I'll post a picture, oh, you're hot. Like, they think the compliments and stuff is what's going to draw me in. No, I want to know who you are. I could ask the questions myself, but I'm not so hung up on finding somebody. I'm just flowing. I'm living my life. I'm happy single. Like, somebody's going to have to come in and really, like, stand out and be like, oh, shoot, like, they're really into
I think
me.
I'm scared to give people stuff to mirror. You know
Like,
what I
too
mean?
much?
Yeah.
And that's my issue. I come out and just, I'm kind of going back on that. Like, I'll let them know, like, hey, I don't really like this within you. But somebody that's a narcissist or somebody like that, once they know that, they can pretend to be somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, I just kind of kick back more and observe.
Yeah, I'm an observer.
I observe more than I'm like, I'm just not going to say anything. I'm just going to get to see who this person is, and then I'll determine if that's who I want to be with.
Mm-hmm.
If I start telling them too early on, like, hey, you're doing this, you're doing that, they could switch it up to play that part to get what they want.
Right.
They're good like that. I've caught on to that. These guys out here are good, that manipulation and all that. Faking stuff and, oh, I'm the realist and all this, and then they turn out not to be.
The realist.
Yeah, the realist.
Well, you know, and to that,
no.
I've gotten really good
fuck.
at when you're having a conversation with them.
I've
You can
heard
tell if
that.
they're really listening to you,
Yeah.
or they're just waiting to interject the next thing that they want to
Yes.
inject. I've come good at that, and I've also been good at just eliminating the energy vampires out of my
you
life.
drain
Yeah.
it.
Just
Yeah,
people
no
that just
good.
suck the life out of you.
Remember, it goes off of how you feel, how somebody leaves, how you're feeling. If you don't feel good, that's a clear sign this person isn't for me.
I feel like I've had people that I've met just on dating sites where they're like, their energy is just like, please, please, please,
Yeah,
please. And
the
it's like,
pick me type.
no,
Codependent.
No, I don't want to meet you. Like, immediately,
Yeah, that's
any
needy.
chance
That's
of
a turn off.
friendship that we could have had, no,
Yeah,
immediately
that's
gone. Like,
turn
I
off.
can't.
The needy.
It's needy and insecurity
Mhm.
is one of my biggest things because I'm like, I'm a person that like I don't know, very like I'm gonna drop stuff and do stuff for my friends. I'm gonna hug all my friends. Like I'm all over the place, and I don't need somebody that's gonna be like, well, this makes me insecure, or the fact that you do this makes me insecure, because I'm like, I'm not doing anything wrong over here.
Right.
I'm just existing as a human being. So I'm like, I can't do insecurity.
Yeah, insecurities.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so what were you talking about? We were talking about anxiety before we
Oh,
were.
yeah, before
Oh.
we got all into all that.
Like, I feel like I'm doing a whole lot better with my anxiety. Most of my anxiety was fueled by, like, what I thought other people thought about me,
Mhm.
right? So now that the world is like crazy, they're either crazy or really stupid. I'm like, it's not affecting me that much anymore. I'm like, I remember being at work like the other week and there was some stuff going on. Like one of the guys was like, oh, well, she's a slow bitch. Like talking about somebody else there. And then he like rephrases his whole thing and he's like, oh, she's slow. And I'm like, why'd you repeat that but take out like the bitch part? I don't understand what's going on here. Cause they like to do like jokey stuff. And he's like, oh, well, so-and-so called somebody a dumb bitch. And I go, my like knee-jerk reaction was I go, I honestly wouldn't give a fuck if that guy called me a dumb bitch. Like, I'm like, I don't think that motherfucker has an 8th grade education. Like, and then it's just like with everything. I'm like, I'm really starting to not care what other people think. I'm like, listen to how they talk sometimes. They sound like either lunatics or really dumb when they're talking about stuff. I'm like, I don't really care what you think anymore. Like, it's weird. Maybe it's because I'm older. I can't figure it out.
I think that comes with aging. You care less and less, but also just wanting to be your true self as well. Realizing that life's short and it's like, I'm not here to please everybody else. I should be able to do what I want to do on my time on earth.
And I think part of it is like, sometimes I think of like my anxiety and depression as other people who are annoying, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not giving you the privilege of taking over the way that I want to feel too. So sometimes I think of it like that, as like a separate being that exists in me, but I'm like, I'm trying to do with less of you because you're not that fun. You're kind of a buzzkill.
Draining. Yeah, draining me.
Yeah.
How do you keep like such a positive outlook? Like the one thing I like about your social media is you're a very positive person.
I've learned to find the lesson in everything. All the bad things that we have in our life, I find what I learned from it. And it goes back to I wouldn't be this person right now without that event. So I don't look at it as like, man, I go through all this crap. Man, I go through all that. All that stuff brought me to here. So, and I'm proud of that. Like, I'm glad all those things happen. It's really like changing your mindset on how you view things.
Right. And I sort of take that in my relationships too, is you take your lessons that you learn, you apply it to the next person. And for the most part, my relationships have, built up to better and better relationships.
Yeah, each person's like, I noticed that too with my dating style. I'm like, that person, okay, I see, I'm improving. I'm getting there. Like, now I require that somebody has a car. Like, whereas before I used to pick up dudes all the time. Can you give me a ride? I'm like, hell yeah, I'll come pick you up. Now I'm like, no, why don't you have a car? Where's your priorities? Something's not right here. So that's part of the dating scene. It sucks going out there, but you have to do it because the more you do it, the better you get at.
And the less you'll tolerate.
Yeah, and the less you tolerate, you get to it. I mean,
and the more you learn about yourself.
Yeah,
which is
like what I like,
too.
what you like, and what you want.
Right.
And that stuff's important to know because a lot of people you'll find on these dating apps, I'm like, hey, what are you looking for? Well, I don't know, just somebody that's not going to cheat on me. That's all I'm asking for. And I'm like,
someone who's easy. I get that a lot.
I'm like, they're like, what about you? I'm like, okay, well, here's 50 things right off the bat that I know of because I've taken the time to learn what I like and what I don't like. I know what I want. I'm very clear on it. If you go into those apps unclear of what you want, you're going to have a whole bunch of shitty experiences. You really got to know. But the positive stuff, just finding the lessons.
Well, and to Shawna's point, like someone that's easy, like, no, I don't want somebody that's easy because by this point, you're going to know this person's experienced life. They've been through shit and stuff like that. But how have they coped with it? And how did they take that experience? Did they change for the better? Or they're just like,
right?
Fuck this bitch.
Yeah, no, bitterness will turn me off.
I feel like when guys say that they just want someone who's easy, it's basically saying, just don't argue with me.
Mm-hmm.
Don't call me out on my shit.
Don't speak up.
Do what I say.
Don't have a voice.
And everything will be fine.
Okay, can I interject on that? I hate arguing. I hate it because I grew up in a household of yelling and stuff like that. So I don't like yelling, but I like talking. And one lesson that my uncle, who was basically my grandfather, had told me was, the one thing is never to go to bed angry. And for the longest time, I tried to apply like, okay, I feel this uncomfortableness we're having, or this argument we had. Let's resolve it to the best of our abilities, and if we care about each other at the end, hey, I care about you, we'll work on this and whatever. And until the person downtown, where it got to the point where I was going to bed angry. And I'm like, no, this relationship isn't for me because I'm going to bed angry and I don't like that.
Yeah, I can't remember who the person is. Damn it. It was a famous actress of yesterday's, but don't go to bed angry, stay up and fight. That's what her quote was. I can't remember who it was though. Oh man. I want to say it was somebody like Liz Taylor or somebody like that. Somebody in that era.
Yeah, I mean, fighting though. I don't know.
They mean like verbally fighting though. They don't mean like,
I'm like good at discussing issues.
I think she meant that she was trying to be funny too.
Yeah.
Like,
Right. A little humor behind it.
yeah.
All right, so we'll wrap this up. All right, so we'll end on this one. So you're not brokenhearted, but you did have a heart attack.
I did.
Man.
I did. Yeah, at 42.
At 42.
Mm-hmm.
And what was that like? I mean, like,
I mean,
how
really,
did you realize it?
I didn't. I mean, I just thought I was having a panic attack. So, like I was telling you guys earlier, I just stuck my head in the freezer and I was trying to, like, catch my breath because I thought it was just anxiety. And then I was like, well, that's not working, so I'll just go to bed. So I forced myself to go to sleep. And then the next day it was still there. So I had my kids take me to the ER and then they were like, oh yeah, you're actively having a heart attack right now. I was like, oh, perfect.
So were you in pain at all? Or was it just like this suffocating
Yeah, what does
pressure?
it feel like?
It was painful, but it felt like the same, maybe just a little bit rougher, like a little
It's
bit.
like you can't breathe.
Yeah, it was
but
like
stronger.
pressure. I was kind of not able to catch my breath, but that's pretty normal for like my anxiety.
And that's like a panic attack. Yeah.
But it just doesn't last 22 hours.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I've
You're like,
had
"This is the
panic
longest
attacks
panic
that will
attack I've
last
ever had."
hours.
Really?
So I'm like, I've gotten them before where they'll like throughout a whole day, like I'll wake up and I'll have anxiety, and then it like mellows out.
Well, I
and
had
then
never had a
goes right
panic
back up,
attack
and-
before. I had anxiety attacks.
Oh, okay, I've had.
I didn't know
So-
you could have a heart attack that lasted that many hours.
I
though.
did not know that.
I think
I
if
never
you're
knew
having
that.
a minor enough one, because some of them are like obviously major
It's
and
crazy.
can do a lot
Yeah.
more to somebody. So
Yeah.
fucking god, but
yeah,
that's a lot.
I felt like, this a culmination of stress over the last 4 years, especially post-divorce and with just, dating and everything.
Yeah, that goes
kids
back to
and
that anxiety system,
it's
anxiety
like,
thing.
I felt this high level of stress for that long and throughout my entire 10-year marriage before that. So it just kind of felt like a nice little nightcap on all that.
Well, I'm glad you're okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, glad you're here
Me too.
on it. So what are you doing to help with that now?
Well, I'm on like 7 different medications now that I have to take, possibly lifelong. I don't know yet until my next appointment with my cardiologist. I can't get tattoos anymore, so that's a real big bump.
You
That was
can't get tattoos.
Really?
No, I'm on like
Why?
3 different blood thinners.
Oh, blood thinners.
So,
yeah,
that was like
that'll
my
do
first
it.
thing that I asked when they told me
That
and
yeah.
I'm like, can I still get tattoos? They were like, no. I was like, no.
Like
Oh,
never.
you should've
though?
just taken
Will you
me.
ever-
I could not
Will you ever be off the blood thinners?
I don't know yet. I have to wait
Okay.
I have to go back and
And did
see.
you get stents?
I got
in
a
your heart?
stent put
Okay.
into my heart. Yeah.
My dad has a few
So-
stents. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
The weight of my heart apparently is through my wrist. That's where they went in.
Oh.
Right there. Took
Okay.
me.
Like they did surgery?
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm. They went all the way up through my arm and then into my heart through my wrist.
Yeah, I would have had a meltdown if I knew about that. I hate anything with
they
eyes
knock
and
you
wrists.
out, girl.
I know that, but I'm just saying, like, thinking
I'm
about
fine with
that.
surgery because I'm like, I'll be sleeping.
No, if I had to go get surgery, I'd be like,
Give me that
okay,
sweet,
explain it to
sweet
me so
morphine.
that I can know exactly what's going to happen because I have to, otherwise I'll freak out. But I'm still going to freak out because you have to knock me out and put me under and
Oh, I'm not
Go in
opposite.
my body.
I'm like, just knock me.
I'm like, yeah, get it. Do you want me to start the countdown now? Let's
Here,
go.
pump it up.
Because I don't want to know anything that's gonna happen.
Nine,
yeah, I'm like,
zebra.
I need to know, but I always regret it. But I need to for my own, like, sanity, I guess.
I don't know. I'd just be like, knock me out. Do what you have to do.
Yeah, that's pretty much where
I
I was
don't
at.
want to. I don't want to see it.
Right.
I
No, I need to
I
know.
hate needles. Like I have blood drawn out. I always have to do like that.
That was the worst part about when I had a collapsed lung is they were coming in at like 3 a.m, like every few hours, and they'd be like, okay, we have to take your blood again, and then I had an IV, like the little port in my hand or whatever, and so I was like, okay, just do it in my hand, and some of them would take blood from my hand, like just remove the IV and do it that way, but then some of them were like doing it through the little elbow ditch, and I was like, oh, that's
Oh, how did you have a collapsed lung?
what?
That her hangover story.
Oh, do I have to tell the story again?
No.
I can tell the
No,
story
no.
again. I just,
If you were told it.
He forgot. He's having a senior moment.
Yeah.
Jeez, Grandpa.
It's getting late. What time is it? Bedtime? It's 7 p.m. Just kidding.
No, I was you know, sometimes I'm like doing stuff over here and I'm checking this. Does it sound good? You know, checking this and stuff like
DJ.
that. I do
Another
go back and
red
listen
flag,
to it, though.
DJs.
You're really articulate on what you.
All right, well, we're glad you're back.
Thanks. I feel good.
Yes. Yeah.
Feeling good.
So that's the moral. Don't date people who lead you to have a heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
It can happen.
Yeah. Oh, believe me, I know.
Yeah, this
date
ain't no
people
joke.
stress
Listen
Yeah.
to your body.
Stress. If somebody's stressing you out, cut them out. It don't matter. It
I
ain't
know.
worth your health.
Somebody makes your body feel off at all.
Yeah.
You know,
Done. Be done.
I have a history of, you know, heart issues in my family, and I'm
Same.
a normally angst-ridden person to begin with, so.
Yeah. You don't need any more.
Yeah, I should say that it was mainly genetic. It wasn't.
There's that part too.
We can't blame so-and-so
Yeah.
for it.
No. The guy I was dating right before I had the heart attack was great. He was a good guy, but just communicated differently, you know?
Well, damn. All right, anybody have anything to end with for our episode? Nothing?
No?
I think we covered it all.
Stay calm.
Yeah. Stay calm. Love yourself.
Love yourself.
Love yourself. Self-worth.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna go doom scroll
Self-love.
on Facebook dating right now.
Look for the red flags. Don't ignore the red flags.
Yeah, don't ignore the
Take
red
your
flags.
time.
Yes, take your time. Don't rush. Get to see what kind of crazy you're dealing with.
Take snow advice and fuck everybody.
Ask what medications they're
I like
on.
it. What's that?
I said, ask what medications they're on.
Yes.
That's what kind of meds they're on. Yeah, see, we did a lot of self-help this on our 200th
Yes, take note.
episode. It was good having y'all on this. Okay.
Thank you for having
Yeah,
us.
thank you.
All right, and we will talk to you soon.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.